What's the best brush to use? Let's use the concepts of friction, tension, and force and combine them with some of your hair's needs for detangling. We want to detangle reasonable sized sections of hair with the minimum number of strokes with minimum tugging. Why? Because that means less friction if we can take fewer strokes and less tension if we don't have to pull. We're going to start with a comb because it's easier to see. This narrow tooth comb creates friction as it removes this knot. It's interacting with the knot more, and the string that I've got standing in as hair grabs back at the teeth. As the wider tooth comb removes the same knot, it interacts with fewer points of contact, so the knot is less inclined to wrap back around the teeth of the comb. Now you just saw a little less tension and friction with the wider tooth comb. Speaking of points of contact, that's the number of impacts the hair makes with the bristles or teeth. Different spacing and different patterns of how the bristles are arranged can create different amounts of tension. With a lot of tension, we might overstretch hairs, and that damages hair at a structural level, whereas friction causes mostly surface damage. Now here are some chunky, flexible bristles with wide, staggered spacing. Chunky bristles can be great for high-density, thick hair, but watch the spacing if you're detangling. Bigger bristles have a little more resistance, and that can also mean it takes less force to detangle. Next up are chunky, closely spaced bristles. This presses hairs together. That's great for creating a smooth look like styling wet curls or brushing out a set. The flexibility of these bristles can reduce tension, but the tightly packed bristles are adding tension and friction. And last is the very flexible, narrow bristle. These are great for low to average density hair, but like in the clip before with the comb, sometimes hairs want to wrap back around the narrow, closely spaced bristles, and that can make tangles while you detangle. There's a lot of points of contact here, and that has interactions between the hair and the brush. Now about force. This is supposed to represent thicker hair, this section I've taken. The wider spaced, chunky bristled brush doesn't really take much force to get into this section of hair. This isn't tangly, we're just showing the concept. If we take a smaller section or pretend this is low density hair, it takes very little force to use that brush at all. But with a similar sized section of coily hair, there is more force required to apply the brush because the hair fills in a more three-dimensional space, so there's more points of contact with that brush, which is one reason if you are dry or wet detangling curly or coily hair, you want some conditioner or some oil to reduce the friction and tension. The brush is only one part of the equation. If you want the least damage potential, least scalp pain, and shorter detangling time, here's how you can apply all this. Thick, high-density hair, we're looking for chunky bristles, widely spaced, and flexible. Average density, your priority is probably going to be flexible, and all other options are open. For smooth hair and compressed curls, you want more tightly spaced bristles lined up in rows. For faster detangling, chunky, flexible, wide-spaced bristles with a staggered arrangement. For fine or low-density hair, it's okay to do larger sections like the sides and the back. If you have thicker, high-density hair, you might want to work with smaller sections. That means you want your section to be narrower than the brush length. And if you have curly or coily hair, you also want smaller sections, which means narrower than the brush length plus some conditioner. Don't second guess yourself. You're going to see stuff online. People have opinions about brushes. I'm here to help you analyze and maybe think about it a little bit differently. Check me out at Science-yHairBlog and Goose Footprints Hair Analysis. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed the content, and have a great day.